This episode of Says Who is brought to you by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com/sayswho. That's our Patreon, where most every Sunday you get this all over again. You get me and Maureen doing a little thing we call the Town Watch, which is marginally shorter and definitely looser and entertaining and full of fun for all. That's if you give it the $5 or $10 a month level. That $10 a month level also gets you a sticker in the mail. Every month you get a brand new sticker that I have made for you, and my 9-year-old puts in an envelope for you, and we enjoy it, and they are great. And that is all for you at patreon.com/sayswho.
Hey, everybody. You know what? It's Pride Month, and if you hate fascism and love Pride Month, why not try Death at Morning House, which is a queer romance, but it's a murder mystery with a queer romance that ticks on in the background and causes lovable chaos. And it's all about how fascism and eugenics is bad, too. I wanted to really get it all in there. You know, I really am who I am in everything I do.
Are you?
Yeah, as it turns out from a meeting I had this morning, it turns out I know I always showed up. This morning, you guys, I said the word dickhole in a meeting.
Yeah.
Okay? So I said the phrase, hey, that guy sounds like a real dickhole. Coming in hot. I've had so much coffee. Anyway, you guys, I really have so much coffee. I had a breakfast meeting. It was like at 9:00 in the morning, and it went on to like just an hour ago or not even. And I just had coffees throughout. I was like, keep them coming. Light them up. So anyway, Death at Morning House, the upcoming You Are the Detective, The Creeping Hand Murder. It looks good as shit. The more I'm looking at it, the more I'm like, I'm actually really thrilled with this book. So if you pre-order it from the Mysterious Bookshop in New York City, Jay and I will personalize the hell out of it and get progressively drunker as we do so.
Boom. And you can always order any of Maureen's books over at kickbezosintheballs.org. That is our own little bookshop where we've got easy links to all Maureen's stuff. We've got links to books we've talked about on the pod, and there's a little search bar. You can just order any book you want, really, over at kickbezosintheballs.org. And while you're buying things on the internet, you can go to merch.sayswhopodcast.com, where we have a large array of Says Who merchandise. Or you can go to shop.dansinker.com, where I have a smaller array of merchandise, but it's all great. That's the story. Do those things. All right. So
you got you want something to drink? I brought
yeah, sure.
Brought a you want a you want a yoo-hoo?
Yeah, I'll have you. Do you think it started yet?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, well, no.
I mean, there've been people marching by us for like an hour and a half, but it kind of feels like maybe they're just getting set up.
Well, it is 7. Here's what's confusing me.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't open the yoo-hoo yet. I mean, it is 7. It was supposed to start at 6:30, and it's 7:30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But nobody's here yet.
Yeah, the guy next to me's been napping for at least 90 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to ask him, but he's out.
Yeah. Like that?
I mean, it looks like they're going to park somewhere, like to get started, right?
Yeah, I think they're just setting up. Do you think this is it?
There's a tank.
Yeah, I mean, there've been a few.
That thing is squeaky.
Is this supposed to be?
Do you think we should have gone to the No Kings event?
I mean, honestly, the X Games is just down the block.
Another question I have, I guess, while we're waiting is, why is this parade at 6:30 at night?
I mean, isn't that usually the time that parades happen?
No.
Oh.
They're usually, as someone who every year as a kid was woken up by the Memorial Day parade outside of her window, 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's usually parades are really a day thing. You know what I mean?
It's so, are we supposed to be like somberly quiet? Is that why nobody's talking? Is this a memorial? It's supposed to be like
Are these birds extra loud or is it us? These birds are so, I can hear so many birds. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I feel
it
like
does.
DC, this is much quieter than DC was. Oh, there's a
Yeah.
guy. There's a guy.
Oh. Oh, that was just a guy crossing the street.
Yep.
Is that a tank?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well.
This feels, sleep. This is like a meditation app. Kind of like I listen to the Headspace where they have these sleep stories where they kind of just, they describe stuff to you. And,
Mm-hmm. Is it over?
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm real relaxed now.
I know. It's a SaysWhovia, the podcast. It's not a podcast.
It's a coping strategy. I am Dan Sinker.
And I'm Maureen Johnson.
Doing there for a minute.
Yeah, we're coping.
I really got relaxed there, and then I forgot anything that we were doing.
It really, having watched the footage of that, it genuinely was like a sleep story.
It's like I saw some videos that felt very much like some sort of weird old-timey tank ASMR.
Yeah. Do you ever listen to those like a sleep story or one of the?
Well, I will certainly admit to, on your advice, having many times listened to Farmer Grover Needs a Nap.
Yes, that's the best one.
Yeah.
But there's also one where they go to like a monastery. Like there's a Zen garden one where they just tell you all about this very famous moss garden. And I could listen to this moss. I've always wanted to see this.
Is it also a Sesame Street one?
No.
Oh.
Farmer Grover Needs a Nap is the best one though.
Yeah.
He has to make those strawberry milkshakes for the Strawberry Festival.
We have watched it, or we've listened to it enough in our house that occasionally when someone seems really cranky or tired, we'll just say like, oh, Farmer Janice needs a nap.
Yeah. Really, he's tired. Farmer Grover has been collecting all the things because Sesame Street is having a Strawberry Festival. And so they're going to make strawberry milkshakes.
I love it.
So good. Dan.
Maureen Johnson.
This is a coping strategy. And
yeah. Well, we did not have an episode last week. And in the explanation that we put out on the Facebook and things like that, it was that things had gotten very lifey for Dan. And what that meant was my mom died last Sunday, a week ago Sunday, very unexpectedly. So a real curveball, Maureen, I would say a real curveball.
Yes.
So yeah, it turns out my dad died a number of years ago now, but it was a slow decline, and which is for those of you that have experienced that, not the best. But when it's over, there's definitely a sense of, in addition to grief, there's a sense of relief for everyone involved, not the least of which the person. Turns out the real sudden one is that one's a real head fuck, Maureen. I'll say, when you don't know, you aren't prepared, and then you're just sort of like, oh well, fuck. Now what?
Yeah.
I was in a lawyer's office earlier last week, and similar to your meeting, I just said fuck a lot. It's like, I don't care. I'm just going for it here. But yeah, so been dealing with that, which has been a lot. It's funny because like there was a moment last week where we were waiting to hear from these lawyers, and Like we were just like getting more and more annoyed how long it was taking. And like, Jesus Christ, don't they know like we need to hear from them? Like everything feels kind of stalled and blah, blah, blah. And then there was a moment where I realized like, oh, we talked to them like at 2 p.m. yesterday and it was like noon. Like, so I am not experiencing time in traditional linear ways, I would say. I don't really know what day it is or anything. So that's my deal. It's fun.
Yes,
It's good stuff.
Dan has been bearing. There's been a lot going on in the background. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
Maureen did buy me and my family a remarkable amount of barbecue on Sunday.
I attempted to send them barbecue because when someone dies, you send food, you send something useful. I prefer food to flowers.
Yes, definitely.
Because not all flowers taste good.
That's in fact, and some of them can really fuck you up.
I pre-ordered this food to be delivered at 6 p.m. from this place that looked good. I was like, this is great. And then I went off and I had a thing. And then as I was coming out of the thing, I got a message like, your order has been canceled. The restaurant's not even open today. And I was like, then why'd you take my order?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Was sort of my question. So I was trying to make this right as I walked home through the rain. Yeah. So with one thumb, I'm like trying to, because the whole point of it is I didn't want to hassle. You know what I mean? Like I was trying to just make this thing easy. And I was like, so what do you guys like? And is there and you're like suggesting stuff. And I'm like trying to find it on Seamless and put the address in. And so eventually I had to take cover under the Friends experience. It felt a little on the nose. And I was like, oh my God. So I was there and I was trying to send it. Turns out there was actually a limit to how much you could order before the app shut you down.
Yeah.
There was a message that was like, that's enough for a pre-order. We won't take any more. I was like, I need to put fries on that. And they're like,
my favorite part was, so Janice and the team went to pick it up. It is literally one of my favorite places in the whole world. So it was very, very generous and wonderful. And, but it also it's an old school barbecue joint. And there's always sort of a level of chaos. And I just got a text at one point from Janice. It was like, do you know how much food Maureen ordered? And I was like, I have no idea. And she was like, because people keep walking in and they're telling them they're out of food.
It wasn't that much.
It wasn't that much. But it was Father's Day. And that's a very Father's Day joint. And so my gut is they were, they had been slammed and then they got a larger than expected order. So but
no fries for you, Missy.
But you raised an interesting point. So my mom, for much of her latter stage of her career, was involved in like children's museum design work, like master planning and stuff. And she worked largely with some company. And this was all like one of the many things that me and my sister had been doing is like, we need to write an obituary. We sort of vaguely remember the jobs that she did, but what did she do? And like, so we're sort of piecing together our memory of things. And at some point, one of us remembered the construction architecture firm that actually builds these things, right, that she worked with. And so I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to look them up. And then it turned out that they had been acquired a number of years ago. And they were acquired by a larger like scenic installation place that works with all kinds of things. And I was looking at their website and boom, what's there? They built the Friends experience. And I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting a crossover episode right here, but
every way we look, we come back to the Friends experience.
Yeah, you're huddled underneath the awning. I'm suddenly experiencing it while trying to research for an obituary. Mm-hmm. But turns out they built that. They built the Ferrari World theme park. I was like, okay. So there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ferrari World.
That's in like Dubai, I think.
I mean, of course it is.
Yeah. Where else would it be? Where else would you
Yeah.
put Ferrari World? Italy?
Do you know what? I keep seeing signs for Dubai chocolate. I haven't tried it. I think it has pistachios in it, which means I would love it. But because I love a pistachio.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was in a store last night. And I just happened to be eye level with a box of Jello pistachio pudding, and I just made eyes at it. And went, I could fuck with that. I love pistachio pudding.
Dude, why not? Get some.
Nah.
Jello pudding's good. This is the thing about Jello instant versus your actual like cook Jello pudding. Banana instant pudding is terrible, and cook it in banana pudding is the fucking best. And you would think at this point, I sort of just have to assume that the Jello company doesn't really give a fuck, right? Because you would think that they could make the two flavors more similar here in 2025, but people are like, what is happening right now? Why am I listening to Dan opine?
Dan's pudding
about
talk.
Banana pudding.
Let me tell you, if you're in New York City, you want banana pudding, you go to Miss Lily's on the corner of 7th and A. It is a Caribbean restaurant.
Ooh.
It is fucking delicious. Which I think also has a branch in Dubai. It has like 2 branches.
Sure.
I believe is in Dubai. And I don't know why. I was like, why? Again, why is it in Dubai? Who knows? But it's absolutely delicious. But their banana pudding will bring you to your knees.
If you want banana pudding in Chicago, best banana pudding I've ever eaten is at Feed Restaurant on West Chicago Ave, which is also a great chicken joint. But man, their banana pudding is amazing.
Don't sleep on pudding, you guys. Pudding is a great dessert.
And banana pudding, especially when you got the Nilla wafers in it.
Wafers.
You got they get all soft.
Don't.
Good dollop of Cool Whip on top.
We're just saying that this is a pudding kind of week. You know what I mean? We're going to have soothing. We're going to have soothing talk. We're going to talk about pudding and nice, quiet military parade. Nice, quiet military. Quiet, calm military. Look, it has been a bit of it's been a feisty 2 weeks.
Yes.
It has been busy. Things have happened.
Bill, a few things.
A few things are happening. There's been, obviously, there was a Trump's birthday happened. Mm-hmm. It was his birthday and the 250th birthday of the Army. It's his birthday, and he had a military parade.
Yeah.
And
when is now I need to know.
What?
Well, U.S. Army. I just want to know when the actual, because it can't possibly be that day, right? U.S. Army, Wikipedia. Oh, wow. Okay. Founded the 3rd of June, 1784, but also the 14th of June, 1775. I don't understand that. Oh, as the Continental Army. Okay. The Continental Army was formed on the 14th of June, 1775. But Wikipedia then says in the 3rd of June, 1784, in current form. So I guess remarkably, it actually was a date that corresponded with the 250th and happened to be Donald Trump's birthday. I just figured it was one of those like, it's in October, but let's do it on this day. But it actually was that day.
Yeah.
That's so much more factually accurate than I was expecting.
Well, these guys did. Now realize the person essentially at the head of this is Pete Hegseth.
Yeah.
Who is, I mean, he's had his morning margarita.
Oh, yeah.
He's been busy at work. He, the top of the chain for this. So the parade happened. And I believe the official count of attendees.
Yeah, I actually have not seen a number for that.
The number I saw was 10,000 people.
Yeah. I mean, that feels right. It was very empty.
which was less than would normally be on a Washington D.C. Like sidewalk on a Saturday
Any
afternoon in
day.
June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
That
DC is a
basically
busy joint.
the streets emptied instead of filled.
Yeah.
There are lots of photographs of just stanchions for overflow crowds that are just everything's empty for miles.
Yeah. It was raining, I think, fairly
It was
hard by the
raining.
end of it. So
Um,
not conducive to a parade.
you can hear in a lot of the videos, it is stonily silent and you can hear nothing but bird song.
Yeah. So that was clearly not raining at the moment that the birds were all tweeting away.
And when people were standing there asking, is this it? Is this the parade and Secret Service? Apparently one guy just said, honestly, I have no idea. So no one seemed to even know if it was so slow and empty that no one even knew if the parade was happening as it was happening.
The ongoing critique that I have had of these people ever since their first time around is just how sloppy and careless and inattentive to detail they are, right? And I don't think you can do that with a parade. I mean, you can, and that's the parade you get.
Yeah.
But parades especially, there's a lot of detail involved. There's a lot of timing. There's a lot of figuring out. And like, I get it. Like, they brought a lot of tanks to Washington, D.C., and I don't think that the roads would hold up to kind of a dry run or whatever. So they were all kind of winging it at the beginning. But there was just a general feel of like, someone was like, yeah, it's just some tanks and some people marching. How hard can it be? It's cool. Just get them going. And it turns out it's harder than that.
And it costs what, $45 million?
At least. I mean, that's one of those things. Like, that number has always been one of those numbers that I'm like, by the time the final number is sorted, it's going to be 3 times, 4 times that. I mean, it's just going to cost a fortune because, I mean, like, I saw a clip, and I want to couch all of this with, like, imagine that you are in some sort of coma, right? And then you occasionally emerge from that coma and like look around for a second, and then you fall right back into that coma. That's essentially what my last week has been, right? So like, I've seen clips of things, but but I do recall seeing a clip of a remarkable number of tanks on a train being taken in. Like, I just think the cost of this is going to have ended up being a lot more. Plus,
fucking up the streets.
I mean, that's the thing. The other thing to me is like, what is the long-term, like, how many years did they take off their street replacement schedule in the city of DC?
What was also really nice is that Trump, there's a lot of footage of him sitting there, and that he knows that this parade is a failure. Like, there's no real denying the failure of this parade.
Right.
It's so quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so shockingly quiet. And there's just very few people there. Meanwhile,
yeah, I mean, I'm curious, like, he's obviously going to be situated at the most crowded, most busy part of the parade, right? Like, the town that I live in has a very famous and very long running 4th of July parade, right? Where they're like, last year, everyone was like, oh, it was so great. It was a shorter parade. It was nice. And I think that there were 85 floats, right? Like, I remember one year there were like 150. Like, it goes forever. But it runs tight. Everything's right up on top of each other. Anyone can enter a float. When I was in high school, I had some friends that had a cable access show that they called Pook PI, that was just them doing really crass, it was like a crass sort of action detective show starring a stuffed bear, right? and they got a Pook PI float once, and it was just like high school metal dude stoners, right? And they were on their Pook PI float, and then they realized as they got into the lineup that they were right behind a group of pro-life marchers. And so then they just made a giant sign on their float that read pro-death behind them. Anyway, this is say anyone can be in it, but there is like some weird judging thing, right? And so at the judging thing is where all the floats like, or the bands will play their songs or shit like that. So I would assume that Trump was in the equivalent of like that judging area, right? So he was where it would have been most action packed and probably where the crowd had been filled in the most. So there's a part of me, like I definitely saw clips of him looking very bored, right? Because that dude he has no attention span. So certainly he's bored, but I'm not sure that he realized just how bad it was at that moment in time. I think probably, and who knows if he still does, because he's just surrounded by people that are like, it was amazing, sir. But yeah, it didn't seem great.
One year for the Pride Parade, my friend was working at Google and they'd rented a double-decker bus, which had like a dance floor on the top with a DJ.
Dude.
And I got to ride the bus. He's like, my friend was like, I'm going to be on the bus. As a gay employee, he's like, come with me. And I was like, okay. And I was so great. And I got to ride the bus. And the float in front of us was sponsored by Kiehl's, the skincare company.
Okay.
And they were throwing samples to the crowd.
Okay.
And because we rode behind them for like, hello, sorry, Dexy just came home. Because we rode behind them for 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, not only did I get to dance,
yep,
and be in the Pride Parade, but I had samples for a year. Like I had so much eye cream and like SPF. A lot of it was FPF. Like I had, honestly, because they're just like, you want some more? And they would just throw them. And sometimes they just throw them towards us.
Yeah.
And I would just end up catching them. I was like, and I just kept kind of stuffing in my pockets, like without thinking about it. And then by the end, I was like, oh God, they had like 200 samples of Kiehl's, which I just put in like a basket. So I had a lot of SPF. I would love to ride a float again. If any of you are associated with a New York Pride float and would like another person, it was the best. I got married on Pride.
I thought you were going to say you got married on a float. I was going to be
got married on a float.
How you do it.
No, we got married on Pride Day. Okay. I believe it was Pride. It was the 23rd of June. So it was like New York was all decorated. It was great.
Yeah.
But if any of you out there, you want to know someone else for your float who just likes riding floats in Pride parades, I would love to come. It was real fun.
The first friend of mine many years ago now, I keep thinking like, oh, she's had the store for, I don't know, 10 years, but I think she's had it for like 20 plus. But she opened a sex toy store in Chicago that is awesome, called Early to Bed. If you're in Chicago, go check it out. I did their original logo design and stuff way back in the day, but they were in the Pride Parade early on. They had a Pride float, and I rode my skateboard around and would jut out to the crowd and hand condoms and dental dams to people. So
it's just the best atmosphere. It's a really lovely,
a good time.
Yeah. Although I may have told the story about the two elder gays that live in my building that always go up at this last.
Oh yeah, they're upset about the lesbians and their grills.
They were upset about the lesbians because they're like, the lesbians, they always block the sidewalk. They bring grills. They're always grilling their sausages on those. And I just keep having this image of a group of lesbians wheeling a big old Weber grill up the street going, come on, girls, let's fucking go.
It's our time.
We just got this at the Home Depot. Let's fucking go. This one has 2 burners on the side. We're warming up beans.
That is my great dream. And this flows from the first time around is when it happens, Maureen. I am wheeling my grill out to the front yard, and I'm making a quick run to the store,
I think
And
we all know what it
it's
means.
burgers and dogs for the whole neighborhood.
Oh, champagne, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Money is free. Like money doesn't matter that day.
Yeah.
You're just like, it's ice cream, everybody. Let's fucking do it.
Yeah. But yeah,
Because
I'm
we're
going to be one of those folks wheeling the grill out.
it just I'm actually a little bit writing this guy into the new book. It's the guy that's obsessed with the royal family and knows the royal undertaker.
I love it.
Where he's like, Princess Diana, don't get me started on that. But he's like, it's just the lesbians, I just can't take it. They get out there early, they bring their grill.
I mean,
it's the greatest conversation I've ever had. I'm just sitting there just like, it's the best. It's the literal best. These are the people that asked us they found 2 Eames chairs that were in bad shape at a antiques fair. But they bought them to refinish them. And they're like, could you just store them for a minute? And they were in our living room for 7 months.
Oh, nice. That's handy. Those are notoriously small chairs. So that must have been.
They were not those. It wasn't, maybe it wasn't Eames. It was another style.
It wasn't like
famous,
those big Eames recliner-ish ones.
It was sort of that, but it didn't have the footrest.
Oh, okay.
And they were in rough shape. And I thought it was going to be for a week because they have so much furniture in their apartment.
Yeah.
I've never seen an apartment more full of their living room is like a maze.
Yeah.
They have a full like antique, like Marie Antoinette, Louis the 14th kind of hutch that I swear to you is 10 feet long that takes up the wall. It's nuts how much they have in there.
Yeah.
It feels like an entire suburban ass house in that apartment.
Is it the same size as yours?
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't understand it. It's the physics of it make no sense to me.
It's like a TARDIS. They're living in a TARDIS.
There's a lot of like lamps with shades and like end tables and it feels like a grandma's house.
Mm-hmm.
But also his husband is a decorator. Like it's also well done because he's a decorator.
Yeah.
But it is full. Anyway, the grill. I'm just saying also if you're a lesbian and you have a grill and you are cooking veggie sausages, I would love to come.
There you go.
I would love a grilled veggie sausage at the Pride Parade.
That would be a good time.
Only the best stuff happens. It really is a very, very, very good time.
I love it.
And we had a great time. I will say it. So for the No Kings, I went alone.
Yeah.
Because Oscar is not participating in that because he is not a citizen.
Yeah.
And is nervous. But I felt kind of obligated.
Yeah.
So I just kind of walked over in the rain and just slid in and just walked for part of it.
I love
it. Everybody I knew was in a different part. Like a lot of people were down in Brooklyn. So I just was like, well, I feel the need to kind of show up. So I feel like we're all kind of obligated. My 80-year-old mother went to one.
I kind of emerged from parental death haze. And we were like, we gotta go do this. And so made a couple signs real quick. We did not go to the Chicago proper, which had, I think, 75,000 people, which is wild. We went to the one in Evanston, which had probably 2,000 people at it. It was enormous. And it was awesome. It was, it was great. The thing that's really wonderful about attending a protest really of any size is just sort of realizing like, oh, right, look at this. All these folks, they're all as fucking pissed off and freaked out and whatever else. And there's a good feeling of kind of camaraderie and strength in numbers for sure. It was good. It was great, actually. We had a good time.
When you think about it, those protests were everywhere.
They were everywhere.
Like if it wasn't like right in front of your house, there was one close to you. You know what I mean? Yeah. There was, and my mother went with her friends.
Yeah.
Like she's a protester now.
Yeah.
She goes and she stands and she does she shows up.
One of my favorite clips that I saw was a retirement home in I think it was in Salt Lake City, where it was just a like video at the doors and just this endless stream of folks kind of coming out on there with their walkers and their canes and everything. And I guess they just held it right in front of their building. But there were probably 2-3 dozen folks that came marching by at that point. It was great.
There were veterans against fascism that were arrested in DC, and they have an interview with one of these guys, and he's got a walker and he's got a cap on and a shirt that says Veterans Against Fascism. And they ask him, how does it feel to get arrested for the first time at 87 years old? And he said, I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
They're like, we made a bed for you over here, because they're camping out and they're not moving.
Oh,
so
wow.
like, because he'd been arrested, so they made a makeshift bed for him to. He's like, I just need to take a nap, and then I'm getting right back out there. So they made him a bed so he could lay down and have a nap because he'd been arrested. Yeah,
amazing.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah, I mean it does feel like we are in the early part of a hot protest summer for sure.
As we sat down to record here in New York, we have some action going on in New York because we are starting voting.
Yeah.
And it's very important, don't rank Cuomo. But right as we sat down to record, Brad Lander, who is a candidate for mayor, was in 26 Federal Plaza trying to help a man walk out of immigration court. And he was basically dragged off by masked federal, basically just some dudes.
Yeah.
Unmarked dudes in masks grab him. And you have lots of photos of him literally being grabbed and dragged off. At this moment, they don't know where he's been taken.
Yeah.
But we saw a senator.
Your camera just gave a magical thumbs down. You were thinking.
Oh, really?
It superimposed a thinking bubble with a thumbs down in it as you were saying that, and I was like, that actually feels very accurate.
It actually accurately read my feelings.
Yeah,
scary, but
what could go wrong?
A senator, was dragged aside during Kristi Noem was speaking.
Yeah,
obviously, two reps were shot in Minnesota, and their spouses.
Yeah, one killed.
One killed,
and one spouse killed.
And one spouse killed. And Trump today was asked to call, Tim Walz, and was like, no, he's a whack job or something.
Yeah.
So we're there. You know what I mean? We're very much there where people are getting dragged out.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the kind of masked goon of it all.
There's a lot of masked goonage.
Yeah, there's a lot of masked goonage.
Just unmarked weirdos dragging you off.
I could do with a lot less masked goonage.
The reason Brad Lander was arrested, he asked to see a judicial warrant.
Yeah.
And they dragged him, and he said, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens without asking to see a judicial warrant. And they just physically grabbed him and dragged him off and arrested him. So, this is where we're at. There's also foreign stuff going on, there's stuff.
Yeah. Where, Israelis bombing the fuck out of Iran, which doesn't seem great. This
is not the moment, as is every moment, that you want Trump in charge.
No.
He's not doing well. You know what I mean? He does actively seem to be kind of falling apart in real time.
I do appreciate the video of him at the G7, which he left early, announcing, I think, a trade deal with the UK, but saying that he had a trade deal with the EU, and he's standing next to Keir Starmer, and then he opens a trade deal, and all the papers just fall on the ground, and Keir Starmer is dropping down to pick it all up, and yeah, he doesn't seem great.
There was also the moment when the summit started that he just started saying Republicans are radicals, Democrats are radicals, or we're going to do this and that. And with big sir, this is an Arby's energy, the prime minister of Canada kind of steps forward, is like, so using my powers as the head of this summit, I'm just going to take over here and be like, let's, he absolutely, it really was, he shut him down.
Yeah.
But he was using that platform because he has also just said now out loud that basically they're going to do, regime change. Have we also been off for the fact of all the stuff that's going on in LA? Like, have we just been gone for this whole period?
We've been gone since LA started blowing up.
Okay.
I mean, but also, you know what? That's unfair to say blowing up. I meant blowing up in just things started happening, not in that things got particularly out of control, because things didn't get particularly out of control. Every person that I know that's in LA, and that some of whom attended protests and some of whom, just lived their lives, were like, these have been real chill. Like, we have seen much worse in LA at a random, evening out sometimes. Like, it seems that things have been completely chill, and then and as per usual, the only rioting happening, the only sort of out of controlness happening, is coming from the cops, and now the ICE and Border Patrol, and now the National Guard and the Marines, and the level of disproportionate response to what has been going down in LA is remarkable.
And a lot of it caught on film. Just, footage of people turn around and deliberately shooting a reporter standing alone with a rubber bullet. Just doing that. So, we are, it does have a feeling of, because this isn't a slide, like we're in it.
Oh yeah, we're in it.
Fully in the pool. We are at Action Park. We have landed in the cold pool. We have landed. We are at the weird, deadly park that people put together on cocaine and money piles, and we got on the ride unwillingly, and now we are in it.
It's true. Yeah, everything about the response to LA is deeply disturbing. There's no real other way to say it.
No, you don't have to be.
But here is the one thing that I do think about, right? Like, the amount of over response to what was essentially a few hundred people at a suburban Home Depot, right? Like, keep in mind, that's where this all started, was a few hundred people who stood up for their neighbors who were attempting to be hauled away by ICE for the egregious crime of standing in a Home Depot parking lot and getting picked up for work. To have literally thousands of mobilized armed people, from the LAPD to the sheriffs to the to ICE to Border Patrol to the National Guard, of which now I think they've sent 4,000, to Marines, for a few hundred people in a Home Depot. And then, obviously the number of people got larger as the response got larger, but that's not sustainable, Maureen.
No,
that's not sustainable for them, is what I mean. Like, I believe the entire U.S. Armed Forces is a few million. And that's smaller than just Los Angeles by a lot. Like, it's not, the numbers don't add up for them. They really don't. And and that doesn't mean like, oh, it's going to be easy, or it's not going to be brutal or whatever. But they can't mobilize like this everywhere. I mean, I think it was some earlier protests, and I forget because my brain barely functions right now, but what they were about. But they were in LA, and they were, instead of one big march, it was like 20 smaller marches across the greater LA area, and the cops couldn't do anything about it. right? Because it was just like, you just like tactically, they're not designed for that. And now put that across the entire country. Like, it's just not, the numbers don't work out for them in the long run, for sure.
No. Take heart at that.
Yeah.
The numbers absolutely don't work out.
Yeah.
And everyone is showing up.
Yeah.
And everyone has the opportunity to keep showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we all got another job.
Yeah, we all got another job. And sometimes that job is hard and can be dangerous, but a lot of the time that job is actually pretty joyful. Like,
yeah,
I had a real hard week, and the highlight was going out to No Kings. You know, like, it was legitimately great. It was like every type of person was there. You know, it was really, really great. And then being able to kind of look and see video from all over the fucking country, from huge turnouts in every major city to, you know, the smallest towns with, you know, a few people standing up and getting counted. Like, that's awesome. And it's only going to get bigger.
And seeing people, again, my mother was never a protester.
Right.
And she went, she's been to a few now, and she went with her friends. And she said, I really felt better having gone.
Yeah.
It felt good to go out there, talk to people. We met people, you know, some people brought their dogs, you know, they got to pet the dog. Like, she's like, yeah, it was raining. I came home and I was soaked and I had to warm up and like take a nap afterwards because I was freezing. But she's like, I was very, very glad we went.
Yeah.
They keep protesting in front of Brian Fitzpatrick's office, who is a real piece of shit in Pennsylvania, and runs from this. Basically, never shows up at his office because protesters are always like, "You suck." It's like that SpongeBob. Oh, this guy stinks. Like, everybody. So yeah, he proved to be a real toady.
Yeah.
So he keeps hiding from people.
Yeah, my 82-year-old uncle came by at one point, and he lives in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And he was like, oh, yeah, earlier today we were outside the rep's office. Like, he's out there all the time with like a bunch of other similarly aged people. And he's like, yeah, that coward never comes.
Yeah. Brian Fitzpatrick is a real weasel.
Yeah.
But, you know, Dan, it's certainly been, I know it's been a very tough week, couple weeks for you, but we're in talk, you know, there's pudding.
Yeah,
there's
pudding.
People on the street.
There are.
People showing up. Trump had a terrible day. He looked so sad.
He was a sad boy. That was his big birthday parade. He
looked disappointed.
It happens.
The guy behind him was clearly vaping. They have footage of Marco Rubio sitting there yawning.
Yeah.
They had to sit there and eat shit
for a long time. It also raises a lot of questions, like essentially the entire Trump cabinet, all of the major decision makers, you know, the Department of Defense, the Secretary of State, were just sitting there forever while there's literal fucking global war breaking out.
Mm-hmm.
And they just got to sit there and watch some tanks squeak by.
Yep. There is actual, it's, in many ways it was good. We would rather them not be involved.
Sure.
Like, you just sit there and you fucking cool your jets. But just think of the humiliation. That was embarrassing.
I hope so.
It looked real fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
And you know they were looking at the overhead shots and there's nobody.
There was nobody.
Apparently,
I did like the little meme setup where it was like various things and then compared against the crowd, overhead crowd shot. That was an entertaining moment on the internet.
Yeah. There were probably more people on a 2-block stretch of the New York parade than there were at that entire,
Oh, I'm sure.
it
Yeah.
was even 1 block, like it was so, because there were people on the side, like there was just nobody.
Yeah.
Nah, 2 blocks probably, but like, a couple blocks. But there was footage of people getting excited. They all ran because they thought something was going on, but it was just a news helicopter going by. There's a lot of really, really good moments. Just prime video footage of reporters like just Trump getting his lunch eaten, just sitting there having to fucking take it, looking all saggy faced, and giving a weird speech in which he tells them to have a great life. That was this weird. Have a great life. He's ending all of his weird war tweets with things like "Thank you for your attention to this matter." It's people are calling it the parade that could have been an email. It's just. So that was nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
So, while everything's not going quite like we would hope.
Yeah.
But, a lot of things are going as we hoped.
Okay.
As evidenced by this weekend and people turning up and people doing good things. And people, putting themselves on the line.
Oh, yeah. Majorly. Yeah. People turning out for each other, people turning out for their neighbors. I think that, Chicago has had repeatedly now, every day this week, there are people that are literally jumping and putting their bodies in front of ICE SUVs as they're trying to leave their parking garage and just stopping them in their tracks. This does not feel sustainable for them.
No.
Right? Like, I really think that the masked goonage of it all just is not working out, and you even had a moment that was sort of a brief moment this week where I think that sort of broke through for a minute, and Trump announced that they were going to de-escalate in farming and eateries and workplaces, right? The raids that they're doing there. And like that felt like a moment where there was sort of a blink. And then, of course, it seems that Stephen Miller got the best of it and they went back to it. But the main thing to me is like this. All of the ICE raids have been shit, right? And should not be happening. And it's insane. But the idea that somebody thinks that it will be popular, feasible, and sustainable to be seemingly exclusively targeting the people that are following the rules by going to various hearings and arresting them at their hearings, people that are going to fucking work, people that are a friend of mine sent me a screen grab from Nextdoor where it was like ICE was rounding up nannies at a park, right? Like, and leaving the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, none of that is fucking sustainable. Like the amount of disruption to regular people's fucking lives, the is absolutely not sustainable for them. And the idea that it's like, well, what, you want us to like find people that are hard to find? Like, no, we're going to do the easiest fucking thing possible, right? Like we're going to almost exclusively target the people that are just doing the right thing, living their lives, like trying to get by as best they can. Like that is just not a fucking sustainable. No. That is not a sustainable strategy at all. Like that is going to turn so many people against them, so many more than it already has. It is so deeply unpopular and so absolutely insane. Like it is a strategy devised by somebody that has never lived in the fucking world.
Yep. And the people now that they have to get to do this job are the dregs. They are the weird wannabe
Yeah.
Hard on military, painted my car camouflage
Yeah.
dipshits
Yeah.
who want
I
to be
mean,
tough guys.
they're going to be able to find these dumbasses.
Mm-hmm.
But I think most of the dumbasses even aren't going to want to be out and exposed this way. I mean, that's why they're hiding their fucking faces, right? Like, generally
And
speaking.
they are dumbasses, which has to be remembered.
Oh, yeah.
So, dumbasses gonna dumbass.
Yeah. Yeah. So fuck all those people. All the power to you all listening. Happy Pride to those that celebrate, which should be all of us, because ultimately it is a fucking celebration of freedom, of which we all deserve to be free.
It's a nice time for everybody.
Yeah. Happy Juneteenth. Day after you listen to this.
Yep.
Get free. Let's do this.
It's a nice day for everybody. Yeah. This is all good stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff, Dan. And we just want to try to help you and have nice, positive things happen to you.
Yeah. Something like that.
That's why I'm here.
Oh, no. See, that's not what I mean.
Hi.
Can I help why you? Are you going to do this to me?
Can I help you?
My mom died.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's why I'm here to sing you a song.
Ah, damn it.
I want to put a smile on Danny Pence's face. Get him a good time. I'm going to tell you about famous balls I've seen and how low they hang to the ground. You can't frown when these low-hanging balls are around. I've seen them all. I've seen Joe Biden's balls. And now I'm going to describe them in detail.
Oh, God.
They are
horrible.
So stretchy, wedgy, teeny, weeny, stretchy, long and hard. I swing them side to side like one of those things that sits on a desk and the balls go back and forth, goes ding, 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 ding. It's like that, but huge. That was the best. Come on, she worked on that all week.
Says Who is made possible by you through your
If you want to buy from China,
our Patreon.
You got to go to the right places.
She had a new one today. I feel like
Party
she's
balloons.
trying. She's
Party
back.
balloons.
Yeah.
Tires.
Says Who is made possible by you through your support of our Patreon at patreon.com.
Did I send you the grifter video from the guy that drinks his own piss?
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
Okay, great. I try to send you nice stuff, Dan.
Patreon.com/SaysWho. That's where you get this all over again. Most Sundays, if you give it the $5 or $10 a month level. If you give it the $10 a month level, you also get a sticker in the mail every month. Made by me. They're always great. The Says Who Sticker Club. Sign on up at patreon.com/SaysWho. Our theme music is performed by Dead Leo.
You're all right.
The logo was designed by Darth. You can contact us at SaysWhoPodcast.com on Blue Sky, at SaysWho, at omfg.town on Mastodon. You can always email it, hey, that's HEY at SaysWhoPodcast.com. Join the discussion on Facebook at /group/SaysWhovians. Our Facebook group is moderated by Janice Dillard. Thank you, Janice. You want to join the fan run Discord server, you can always go to tinyurl.com/SaysWhoDiscord. Spread the word, subscribe, leave stars and reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever it is that you listen. And you can join us next Wednesday, the 25th of June, for our very next episode. And from my basement in Chicago, I am Dan Sinker.
From New York City, where everything is going great.
That's great. You got 1 week till your big election.
We've got 1 week. Yep. It's all
Don't
going
rank
great.
Cuomo, folks.
Oh, you're not thinking about ranking Cuomo, are you? You weren't thinking that, were you?
There's like an actual guy that's a clown on there. You can just put him in.
There is an actual guy who's a clown on there. Yeah.
It feels like the natural progression for you all to have an actual clown instead of a figurative clown.
But the thing is, we have actual options this time that are not clowns. One of them has just been dragged off by ICE. So,
there's that.
I'm Maureen Johnson.
This has been Says Who.
Ooh.